Hey Stampers, I'm coming back with another alternative, and this card is in the sale-a-bration, but I can't show you. I know, I'd love to show you so you can compare, but trust me, when you get your little catalogues, it's on the same page as the little cot. It's called Cradled in Love, but I'm not using that. The card they've made is with using the free Flightnary Designer Series paper on page 6. There's 1, 2, 3, there's 5 cards in total up across 5 and 6. 3 of them are using the Designer Series paper that is free, and also on that page I've just noticed they do some Pool Party 5/8 inch crinkled ribbon, which you can get with a £45 order or $50 if you're in America, but it's just for ribbon, so get yourself the DSP, it's worth more, or the stamp set. On page 7 it's called Cradled in Love, and it's literally a little Moses basket on stand and a rug, but I don't know many people having babies. I don't tend to send many cards having babies. I'll show you my card. I'm using alternative Designer Series papers. I'm using the same leaf they've used because it's out of the Dainty Delight. But they've made a birdhouse out of Designer Series paper and added Designer Series paper inside. But I haven't got it yet because I can't order till the 5th of December. So this is early. I would have probably, by the time you watch this video, I would have put my order in by now. But I will then show the alternative, my one, and the one that's in the little box. So fingers crossed by then I should be able to show you. Mind you, I can't show you until the 3rd of January. But this is the card I made. My problem, I made this a little bit too tall and added it too far up my page. I'm going to crop this down a little bit, fetch this down to the bottom so my leaves can act like a branch and hang my little birdhouse. Now this little crinkly set, I don't know what they've used. It doesn't say what they've used. They've even made a triangle top, and I've used for my top, let me get my dies, there is the Pretty Pavilion. Now you get this die, and I literally just cut that bit. It looks a bit skew-with, but I cut that bit and then tuck it, well, I'm going to take it down to those lines there. You can see those tiny little lines, so I've cut that across there. So I've got my top of my birdhouse. I'm just using alternatives. Then there's this die here. I'm just hoping that's the same width. Yes. And I mean, I'm going to use this for my label, which is a totally different sentiment, but I'm going to run this. This is from the basic border dies, and it's the only one with a little scalpel edge that looked pretty enough to go along this edge. So I'm going to run that along there. So I get my little scalpel edge. The leaf you can see in here is going to cut out my branch. So I might even find a slightly bit. I mean, these are just scraps out my scrap bin. But I think I do have a slightly bigger piece somewhere. Give me 2 seconds, ladies. I have got it. Yes. There's a little bit bigger. I may have to cut it a little bit smaller. Maybe not. I only need it to cut out most of it. I don't need it all. Let's fingers crossed see what we get with this piece. And that's the same leaf they've used. I'm going to come back just to the other side. So look at that. I know there is, oops a daisy, just needs a little snip off. Let me grab my scissors. I'm just going to literally snip that off. You don't need it all, see. But I don't need that section. And I'm just going to chop that bit off because it's going to go on the edge of my paper anyway. So no one would even know unless they see me use it. The person who ever gets this card. Let's chuck those in the bin. So I can use that for something else. Just grab my pokey tool, get rid of my bits. And now that comes from this beautiful Dainty Delight, which is still available in the main catalogue. Got loads of stuff in here. It comes with so many beautiful details. Just love them. Look at these beautiful flowers. I have literally yet, I think I've used that one and that one. I have yet to use the rest. But look at these gorgeous flowers and leaves. And these other little bits. Oh, I'm going to have a play with that. So let's get rid of my bits. Now they've used, as you can see with my card, this bluish background. I'm not sure. I think that comes, yeah, that comes from a piece of designer series paper in the freebie stuff. Now I didn't have that yet, obviously, because I haven't purchased my designer series. I've got a card base. I'm going to narrow that down a little bit more. This is from the Dainty Papers as well, and so is this piece. Because it's all blue, I don't mind a bit of green on there, because to me, that's the sky, this is the ground. This is the only designer series paper I've got with pecan pie on it at the moment. They're using a piece on the inside. This piece is from a pavilion. So I've got my leaf to hang the birdhouse on. I'm going to turn this into a birdhouse. This is for the inside of the birdhouse, as you can see on mine. It's just a wood background. So my pavilion piece, I'm going to turn it this way. Did I turn it that way? Yeah. And I'm literally put in the paper so a bit, I'm not sure if my die's a bit skew, but there we go. I just put in the top bit on my, let's just scoot that over a touch. Don't worry if it's not bang on perfect, because we're going to put a border across there. So I'm using this as my top. I think they've used designer series paper to do the top of theirs in just triangle pieces and glued them together, but I thought, why not make it look a little bit more fancy? How cute's that? My little scalloped border now will go across there. This, believe it or not, and just put my little pavilions away. So I showed Mr. Boyce my alternative cards and showed in the catalogue. He was like, there's no difference. I said, there is a difference. And I can't tell. I said, well, I can, and I know where I've done the difference. See, now this will come good for a sentiment. Let's get my little piece of paper. And I'm making sure, I've just ordered another one of these. I've tried heating it. It just pops back up. So I'm going to make sure that is as straight as possible. I don't want it skew with, because it's going to go on my little. And that's as wide as my pavilion top, which is 2 3/4. And look how tiny that little piece is. I'm sure you've got a piece somewhere in your scraps bin that will do that small piece. Let's have a look. Yes, that's cut that beautiful. I mean, you could save that for something else, but I'll give you, you know, I'm going to forgive myself for throwing that little bit in the bin. You know, we can't, there we go. So that's my little pavilion top. I did chop my other one down a little bit smaller, but I think that one's just going to give me that cuteness. And just, I might not even colour the top one in, because I coloured it in with just, now I've lost my dies. Where have I put my dies? There they are. I coloured it in with just my blends. So don't ever get rid of any of your old stuff, because you realise how quickly it comes in handy for making other things. So as I can't say as I've used this set a lot, but I'm glad I kept it. Look at it all. Only give me one sticky bit of flipping. This, because they're Stampin' Up tape for keeping the dies on, is mega sticky. But once you've peeled something back off once, I might just put them on a magnet mat. But they'll come in handy for lots and lots of different projects. So don't always go through your old stash, that's what I'm saying. So my designer series paper, which is the same for the front as it is for the piece I'm adding down, is, oh no, it's slightly different, but it's from the same packet. That's what I'm saying. And it's from, this is from the Dainty Flowers, which was a freebie in sale-a-bration as well. So I've got my bits. Let's pop this away. I'm going to make it exactly the same as what's in the catalogue this time. I cut this 2 3/4 by 3 3/4, and what I'm going to do this time, I'm going to trim this down to 2 1/2. And I'm going to cut this down to 3 1/2, or maybe 3 1/4. Maybe 3 1/4 this time. And I've got my 1 1/4 circle punch, and I'm just gonna pop that. I mean, I went all the way down to the bottom on my other one because it was long, but this time I'm just gonna come about equal distance, pop out, and don't throw this little circle because I added it on the inside so you could stamp a message or even write a message, and you're not wasting any of the designer series paper then. So it's just a standard A4 card for Stampin' Up demonstrators. So to cover my background, I just use a 2-inch circle punch and cut myself a circle from the Gone Fishing papers, which was the only one I had with pecan pie on the background. So just have a look through your stash, see what you've got. I know all you beautiful ladies can't afford to literally go out and buy every stamp set, every die set, every bit of DSP, or make enough of a sale to do your designer series paper. So this is the piece I'm having, and I'm going to put it at the top so it represents the sky. I cut this literally 1/8 of an inch smaller all around because they've covered their whole card, no border. So I just cut mine and then realised they've got no border. So let's add this. I mean, how many of us put our designer series paper away when it's retired and then forget it's there when we can make cards? Whoops. Using our stash. Now I cut this 5 3/4, sorry, by 4. On my card is 4 1/8 by 5 7/8. So I'm just gonna, I'm looking at the size of my little hole. Now this, I'm gonna pop dimensionals on the back. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. This I'm just gonna, it's the circle we cut out from the center, and I'm just gonna pop that just to decorate the inside. It just adds a little bit of something. I think it's cute, and why would you throw it in the bin? So I'm gonna pop my here, and I'm gonna glue this further down so you can see. I'm going to glue on my little, I'm going to get my glue, and I'm just going to add a dot of glue all the way across. I mean, you could run that piece through the embossing folder with the brick walls to give it an authentic brick effect. So my pavilion top is going to just literally sit just on top. Now what I did with mine, I added a bit of shimmer spray let me do a bit of colouring first. I might just colour. So I did it outwards for some reason. Don't ask me why, when it should have been down. So I'm just going to go like that. Don't ask me why I'm doing a different pattern. Why not? I mean, they've used, I don't know what shape they use, unless they used a square and then cut it as an angle and twisted it. You could do that as well. I'm going to go over with the paintbrush end in a minute. I don't mind that I've missed a bit. So this is the pail. So I'm just going to literally go over the whole thing. And that will emphasize then my darker bits. And even if you wanted to go over with your pen to darken this up, you can darken your paper even. And I might just go right on the edge just to darken the scalpelled area. If you don't find it steady enough to hold, just get a piece of paper underneath. What's to say I was having a good day then. So I've slightly darkened the bottom. That's cute. You might not be able to see it in this light. Right, keeping it on this paper. This is going to be for my sentiment. Let me just move these bits out of the way. I made myself some more shimmer spray. I did show it on another video. And I'm just going to just give that a little sparkle. I mean, it's rubbing alcohol, so it literally takes seconds to dry. It's done. Lovely. So I'm going to grab my designer series paper. Get that out the way. And now we're going to glue just that edge. And right along. And I've got a tiny little gap either side. Whereas this one, I did it right to the edges and I didn't darken that. But isn't that cute? Looks a bit like the Taj Mahal, doesn't it? But and now I'm going to add a dimensionals on the back of my pavilion top. And we've got our little, I mean, if you wanted to be mega precise, maybe I should, yeah, no, that's fine. I'm going to grab two little ones, or maybe three little ones, one for there, and one for there. It might seem like an excessive amount, but trust me, it'll be fine. Maybe I should have added, I'm going to remove all these just off the bird box itself. Now I'm going to lay my designer series paper on so you can see right through it. I used foam strips for this card, but it felt a little bit too deep. I think this is plenty deep enough because you can keep the card flat that way. So that's what I used. So now we can leave that for a minute because we leave it standing upwards. Now we're going to glue this on here and snip off anything that's overhanging. So dot dot, I'm just literally, you could have run this through with your double-sided tape and just peel off the back. I'm literally just going to dot because I know I'm not adding too much. And I'm just looking, they've literally got this like this. and used as a branch overlay. I mean, I could have finished that off, but I'm not bothered. And I'm just gonna snip off that edge so it looks like it's still on the page. I will just lift up those branches a little touch and add a bit more glue. And I'm just dotting, as you see. Isn't that cute? Right, tiny piece of double this over. I didn't do it on my first card because, like I'm saying, I forgot to add the branch and I forgot to make it look like it was hanging off the branch. I just put a ribbon on the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get glue dots and I'm just going to add one to the back at the bottom. And I'm just going to pull my fingers between it so it narrows it down. And then I'm going to do the same at the other end, but I'm going to add this one roughly about there. So it's the center of my card-ish. And then I'm pulling it. I'm just having the loop at the top there so it looks like it's looped around the branch. And then I'm just going to squash that down. Grab another glue dot. Don't worry because it will get hidden in a minute with the bow. It's such a cute card. So now we can remove the rest of the dimensionals. Oh look, it's too long. I'm going to lift it up just a fraction so it fits. So my loop is behind. Then when I add my bow, you won't be able to see that. So that's for my center. Get my little bow. And I'm only going to do a triple bow, but I'm only going to do 2 tails this time. I'm going to make the bow 1, 2. I like the fact that you can pull until you get it in place and you're not wasting. This comes in the triple pack of the basic element, the basic colors. You get white, black, grey, smoky slate, very vanilla and crumb cake. And I do use a lot of baker's twine or linen thread as they call it. So I'm only cutting off what I need and not wasting none. I'm going to come back and grab myself another glue dot for the top. And I can tell where that center is because I've got my little points to my shimmered top, and I'm going to add a little bow so it looks like it's hanging from the top of the bow. Isn't that cute? That is so cute. Right, let's put bits away because Gaynor's desk is looking untidy. So let me put my tape runner away. I've got everything out. Do you ever do that, girls? Get everything out and then realise that you didn't need half of it in the first place, or when you did, you just forgot to put it back. So I'm going to take my piece of fresh freesia, and I've bought my pecan pie. You could also heat emboss this in copper or even gold, but their stamp set says, "I am thankful you're in my life," and they've got 2 separate strips on there, but I'm just going to go with "Thank you for your kindness." Oh, look at that, perfectly centered. Close up my, I'd love to show you, but when you do get your little books, have a look through and think, oh, that's the card Gaynor did, and showed an alternative way of doing it if we can't afford to buy either get a freebie, or we can't afford to get the dies. Maybe we've got a leaf die somewhere, maybe you've got one hanging around that you might not even know. You could put a flower on the end of there. I could even trim that off so it just stays like leaves, but I'm not going to. And get my little trimmer, my little mini trimmer, and I'm just going to line this on this line here and keep a straight edge. And there is my little sentiment. That's cute. I'm going to flick that over and grab myself another dimensional just on this end. I know I put things away and then I realise I've got to use it again. A little bit of glue. And then I'm just going to come in and put that as straight as possible. Like I'm saying, they've got a small sentiment here and then a smaller one. I could have done that, separated that, but I don't really want to do that. But isn't that cute? I love that, and I think it's just as nice. And Mr. B really agreed. He was like, they're both the same, and I'm like, it's not exactly the same. Look at the roof. He's like, right, but I'm a bloke. Yes, you are a bloke. Take your darkest pen. There's no gems on the one in the sale-a-bration catalogue, but I'm just going to colour 5 of these. So 1, 2, 3. I've got one there. I'm just going to recolor. Going to give them a second to dry. Now these epoxy dots, code 145. They're about 4 or 5 years old. Again, I'm rooting stuff from my stash that I bought a long time ago, put it in a box, and then forgot about. Do you ever do that, girls, or do you just, or you like use all your papers up? Because these are alternatives anyway for those who can't really afford to spend a fortune. So I'm going to have 2 there. I'm literally going to have 1. I didn't have 1 on my sentiment. I had it on the roof there, but I'm going to add it on the sentiment this time. And then I'm going to put 2 more just down there. Put my little stash away, and this is the first one. I think it's cute, but you know, when I'd added it and I thought, where am I going to stick my branch? So I stuck it on the side. Then I made these really long, and I can trim them down now because it's just taken away from the card. So I'll keep them the length of the roof. So that tidied that up a little bit. So this is the first one, and then this is one very similar to the one that's in. I've probably made the birdhouse a little bit too big, but I don't mind. But that's my alternative, again, to a new card that's made in the sale-a-bration and the mini catalogue. Customers will not see this till January 3rd unless your representatives send them out a week early. I think they send them out a week early, but we still can't show them online till January the 3rd. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to. Am I actually showing you? I'm dying. Look at me, I'm dying to show. But this is my alternative, and I'm going to try and do as many alternative cards that are in the catalogue using old products. That way not everyone who can't afford everything is going to miss out. So I will probably, I'll have the paper, but how they've made this is probably just the same as what I've done. They've added a punch. They've probably used a large square, cut it at a diagonal and used, because they've got a triangle roof, I used the pavilion top, and they've just used this branch and added a bit of DSP here and here. Sentiment, and I just think that's cute, and I love that in there because you could add another sentiment in there. And what have we got here? Thank you for your kindness, sending love during this season of growth. I don't know, the best is yet to come. or celebrate you. Or you could even add one of these beautiful flowers inside and just stamp it in, maybe with the, oh, let's see what, let's do it. Let's put the sentiment back because I've cleaned it. Let's add, yeah, let's add that one. And we'll just get our ink back out because we've added that circle inside. Let's just add that cute little flower as well to give it some inner decoration. That is cute. Let me open that back. So we got a little, you can write to and from, and a little message. I just thought I didn't want to waste that tiny little bit of designer series paper. And this is what come off the front of this one. Isn't that cute? So my first one, my second one, I think my second one's a little bit better. And you'll probably notice that when you see the card. So there we go, another alternative card. Using older stamp sets. I mean, I'm not guaranteeing you've got these ones I've got, but if you've got them and it took you a while to save up for them, and then you're thinking, oh my goodness, they've literally just got rid of one catalogue and they're gonna fetch out another one, and you can't keep up. So this one's still in stock and still in the annual catalogue till June. This one retired ages ago. The code is this, 149, and we're up to 161. In fact, we're up to 162 and 3 now in this new catalogues. Like I'm saying, I'd love to show you, but I can't. And I used the pecan pie, my 1 1/4 inch circle punch, and a 2 inch circle punch to do the circle inside. But there we go. I hope you've enjoyed. I've had fun making these alternative cards for you. Mr. Boyce has agreed that they're just as nice as what the catalogue is selling. And even though I haven't got any of the set, I will be getting the designer series papers. And maybe, I think it's 3 bundles. The B one, the blokes, the trusty toolbox. And I can't remember what the other one. I've written it down. Let me have a look. The Be Mine bundle. Oh, lighter than air, the hot air balloons, even though I used to have Lift Me Up and I got rid of it years ago. And the trusty toolbox. But the rest is just designer series paper and gems. And the free stamp set I'm getting is, I can't remember. Whatever it is, it says, oh, I don't know, I can't remember. Oh, the pennial postage dies, I think. I opted for dies instead of a stamp set. So they just look like postage stamps, but oblong. And then even my free items are 1 lot of gems and 1, 2, 3, 4 lots of designer series paper. So my freebies are designer series paper and gems. I know most of my order, apart from 3 sets, will be. So I will be making lots of alternative cards to go along with this new mini catalogue, which will probably just retire in June anyway. It's from, I'll tell you when it runs from. Yeah, it's April. It runs from January to April. So everything in this book, unless it carries over into the main catalogue. I think the B one will. I think the hot air balloon one will. And I'm not sure about the rest, but they'll probably retire by June anyway. But there we go. A thumbs up would be great. All glory to our great Lord and Saviour. And like I'm saying, if I can fetch an alternative card to you, my darlings, I will. And I would love to see you on the next video. Till next time. Bye.